versus Florida State finish and the reaction to the game. I watched this game Friday night. We were talking in one of my CFB Nation group chats, and D Now called this shot. He said, "Will there be an upset in Charlottesville?" And shout out to D Now. He called this one. He seen this coming, and looking at this game and looking back at it, and the way how fast they stormed the field is crazy. I had to show it. Like, it was one of those things. Like, you all can decide to copyright me. I don't care. I'm going to show it. Like, it's just one of those things that just has to be shown. And like, I can't show no like all season footage how I typically show. It's just one of those things that I'm just going to show it, and people just gonna have to deal with it, right? So, all right. So looking at this game here, I have a lot of takeaways from it, and my biggest takeaway is I think some people are going to look at this game and overreact with Florida State. Oh, these guys were rated, 8th in the country. They went to Charlottesville, and they lost to a team that's not that good, and UVA not so fast. I know they lost. But I've been telling you guys the entire offseason, like, do you guys watch Governor College football, or do you just skim through it? Because now I got to ask the same question that I asked to everybody else as it pertains to, do you watch college football, or do you just skim through it? I've warned you about possible cannibalization in this conference because I thought that the middle tier was getting stronger, because I didn't think ACC had very much of a middle class, to be honest with you. I think we're seeing the same thing in the Big Ten. Middle class is getting stronger. Big 12 is pure cannibalization. But guess where else has happened, which is a huge surprise? It's happening in the SEC as well. So under the lights in Charlottesville, which is about an hour, maybe hour, 10-minute drive from where I am. I love the Charlottesville area, by the way. I had a preconceived notion about Charlottesville just because of an event that happened there a very long time ago. I went there and had a very, very different, reaction to it. But, 50,000 strong at Scott Stadium. That's the largest crowd that they've had in a very long time. And by the end of it, every single one of them was on the field. So you know how there's this, clause with storming the field. And some teams have even said, hey, wait 3 minutes. You get them 3 minutes to get off the field. UEA was like, yo, we got money here. The donors got money. Boosters got money. Like, there's some rich people that live in Charlottesville. We will pay the fee to storm the field. And I've never seen it timed perfectly. Like, it's like they didn't even wait for the refs to signal whether, it was an incomplete or not. It was just like, no catch, boom. Like, it was a blur, bro. It was crazy. The scene was outrageous. I think this was a program starving for a moment. They needed a moment. Great job by Tony Elliott. He deserved this win. Just to see them celebrate in the locker room, I think was pretty fantastic as well. Just a truly electric atmosphere. And one of the things I would like to talk about, one is that crowd. They showed up. They were loud the entire night. I think a lot of Florida State fans are going to blame Thomas Castellanos for this win. My dog Nino, it's like, yeah, he looked kind of like BC, BC Thomas Castellanos here and there. I will say this, they're not in that game without Duce Robinson nor Thomas Castellanos. They're really not. And that defense, even though they gave up 46 points, so it's about to sound oxymoronic, and forgive me for that. But, Chandler Morris, let's talk about him. The resilience that we've seen out of Chandler Morris. Incredible. The game wasn't completely pretty. It wasn't completely ugly either, because I think he scored 5 total touchdowns that game. But he threw 3 interceptions. And those interceptions were extremely costly, to be honest with you. They were very costly. So, he gave Florida State life on 3 different occasions, because I think they were up early, like 14-0, and he continued to give them life. And it's one of those things where when I'm watching games and I'm at home, typically I'm multitasking. So I have my setup. Typically I had a game on the big screen. Typically I got a game because I got a dual monitor set up. I typically have a game over here. And a lot of times you'll see me walk constantly from my station to the TV, from my station to the TV. And when we have a really good game, and it depends. Like this Saturday, it was being at my station. I was watching the games. But Friday night, it went from me sitting here in my seat to just moving over there and sitting at my U couch that you guys hear me, talk about with great deal of affinity, like Cliff Huxtable. But Chandler Morris showed outstanding amount of resilience in this game. Super proud of the way, he played, but, counted for 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 2 passing, including the game-winning 4-yard run in double overtime. Like, the scene there is amazing. And shout out to Duce Robinson as well. I believe while they lost a game, and you play the game to win, like John Madden used to say. I think that was an NFL game for him. I think when execs look at his size, they say, how do we use him at the NFL level? Do we add weight on him and make him a vertical threat tight end? I think that's a tape that say, hey, I can play wide receiver. I think that's 100% a tape because he made a lot of great plays that game. And there's certain games you watch like, damn, I feel for this player because this player played out of his mind. And, didn't quite work out for him, but, he played out of his mind. So shout out to Duce Robinson. Shout out to Chandler Morris. Florida State missed a lot of opportunities. And I kind of talked about this in the cold open, but that Duce Robinson, the touchdown that was called the touchdown on the field, then reviewed. I love seeing the way that they reviewed it, but then it was reviewed and it was overturned. And whether I agree with the call or not, it is neither here nor there. But what I will say this, I didn't think there was enough evidence. If they had called it incomplete on the field, there wasn't enough evidence to call it a catch watching this film. If they called it complete, on the field, there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it, if that makes sense. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it in my mind, that, hey, you called it a touchdown on the field. It should have been left a touchdown. I didn't think it was enough, evidence to call it incomplete. And I'm just being 100% transparent with you. I did not think it was enough evidence to call that pass incomplete. So that's probably one of the controversies in this game. I'm not sure if that's what Florida State's talking about. I think a lot of what I've seen Florida State fans, and I know quite a few of them, shout out to my dogs at Herb Radio station in Baltimore. I was on there a few Mondays ago. They're both Florida State fans. I seen them go live right after the game, so shout out to them. But yes, I think it was just like, one of those plays. If you want to look at controversy, that could kind of be it. But the thing that I love now is that you hear what the ref is thinking. You hear what the people that are back, at the headquarters, you hear what they're thinking as well. And I think that's pretty cool. So program defining win for Tony Elliott. I continue to say that. You gotta give credit for him, the resilience that he had, because he was definitely on the hot seat heading into this season. I don't think that shocks anybody. But, some of the commentary we got after the game, he said that's what Scott Stadium is supposed to be like. So some kids that, local kids that probably wasn't considering UVA after a win like that, I'm sure they had some recruits there Friday night like, hey, I'm going to come play for this place. Because I think what you're going to start to see across the nation is typically all of, 5-star and 4-star kids go and build pipelines at universities. But some of these kids, like a JKS at Cal, they want to play immediately, right? Or what we seeing what Malik Washington, he said, but bro, I'm going to stay home and go to Maryland. I'm going to be the starting quarterback as a true freshman, and I'm going to dominate. And guess what? Every school that wanted me then still going to want me now. But guess what? I can go be a starter. Because JKS could very well. I saw my dog Felix Sharp say this. My dog Nino said it first. They said that, hey, JKS could be at Oregon next year the way Dante Moore's playing. He said it to the NFL. Worst kept secret. I'm pretty sure after the way he played, the poise he showed. We're going to talk about that game a little bit more, but program defining win for Virginia. Like, you want to put on the tape something to remember. Hey, don't you want to be a part of UVA? You see the way our fans stormed the field? You can come here and win a game for us, and the fans can storm the field for you like that. I think that's incredible. I truly do. So, Florida State, like, how do you properly rate Florida State now? They were ranked 8th in the country. We did see some teams lose this week. But how do you look at them after this game? I think they have opportunities. They play Miami, and for what next? And what a lot of people is going to say, well, hey, they lost at UVA. Oh, Miami's going to kill them. Styles make fights. How many times you guys got to hear me say that? Styles make fights. We saw an Illinois team. Shout out to Illinois. Shout out to them. They're drinking champagne yesterday and tonight. And they played horrible versus Indiana. Indiana struggled versus Iowa, and Iowa had chances to win that game. Illinois, much improved versus your USC team that a lot of us was thinking, hey, this team is for real and can compete in the Big Ten. They was able to win that game. Because of what? Because of why? Styles make what? Styles make fights. I continue to say that. Run game for Virginia was impressive. Very impressive. Like, as a team, they had 30 carries, 130 yards, and second half and overtimes. That's old school football. And Jamari Taylor had a couple of runs, bro, that just really reminds you of those old school backs we used to see in the late 90s, early 2000s. One that come to mind was a guy by the name of Travis Henry that played at Tennessee and played with the Buffalo Bills. He wasn't, like, super big, so he wasn't going to, like, run you over, but he was great at breaking tackles, and that's what Jamari Taylor is. Low center of gravity, he's just great ability at breaking tackles, and he ran physical all night, and I thought he was that bell cow that they needed in the game, especially at times where Chandler Morris didn't look that hot and he was turning the ball over. So great game by Jamari Taylor. That's a name I think a lot of people should be buying stock in. So what is the big picture for both of these teams? I think we look at both of these teams, and I think a lot of people who, were 100% buying Florida State stock, they're probably a little bit, okay, let's fall back. And, look at Alabama. We're going to talk about them shortly, but look at the way you felt about Alabama versus the way you felt about Alabama now. Look at the way you felt about UVA before the season. Look at the way you feel about UVA now. Look at the way you felt about Florida State. They were dominating, killing Circuit City University programs. They, dominated Alabama in that first game. You just didn't expect them to win a game like this. But I think it's a long season. Yes, this is an ACC loss, but I think we're going to get some cannibalization in the ACC. Miami's going to lose some games. Florida State may lose another game. That's just the name of the game. I like Louisville. Louisville will probably lose a game they shouldn't lose. That's just the way it's going to work. That's how it works in the ACC. So it'll be interesting, down the stretch as we get into the meat and potatoes of the season, the second quarter that we're in. It's going to be something amazing to see. So I think this game, the lasting thought is the resilience of Chandler Morris versus the gut punch and a regret for Florida State, knowing